Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises unto Yahweh. All praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great, most honorable well. And shalom to the elect scattered around the four corners of the earth, man. It's the brother Napash, and pretty much I wanted to touch on Isaiah, the 14th chapter, the first and second verse, quickly, and just to go into it and break it down, okay, for understanding. So, without further ado, I'll start this lesson on that, man. So, this is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. It says, "For the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." Now, people that read that would start thinking about the other nations when they hear the strangers. But that's talking about other Israelites, man. Okay? Like, for example, when you heard this truth, okay, before you heard this truth, you was in a Gentile state of mind, okay? And, you saw the prophets on the highways and byways, you saw the Israelites, and you came back onto who you was. You came back onto your nationality, man. All right, so you got cleaved onto the house of Jacob. So this is talking about Israel. And I'm going to get quick two precepts. All right. This is Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 12. It says that at that time, let's start from 11. "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands." And at one point, man, we were all in that Gentile state of mind, just like it was back in the time of the apostles, where you had those of our people that were into Greek customs. They were in that that Gentile state of mind, man. All right, but they came back onto who they were. They came back onto being Israelites. All right, and some that knew that they were Israelites and some that didn't. All right, it says, "Who are called uncircumcision by that which is called a circumcision in the flesh made by hands." It says that at that time ye were without Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope, and without Yahweh Shemel Shai in the world. Okay, so we were pretty much estranged from the promises, estranged from and who was the promises made to? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, man. Okay, the promises being through that line onto Israel. And we were alien to that. We were alien to Yahweh Shai. So coming back into the fold, coming back into the truth, brought us back into that. So when you hear this word, what do you hear? You hear Yahweh. You hear Yahweh Shemel Shai. You hear about Yahweh Shai. You find out who you are, your nationality. You might be thinking, "Oh, well, I'm a so-called black man," or "I'm a so-called West Indian man. I'm a so-called Haitian. I'm a so-called Puerto Rican. I'm a so-called Mexican," or whatever, right? But when you hear this word, okay, you got the 12 tribe sign. Okay, that's in Ezekiel 37, the plank. All right, going into the different nations, the breakdowns, and you find out your nationality. You find out who you are. You find out that actually you're a prince of the power, man, and that what comes with that. The knowledge, wisdom, understanding of the scriptures, the laws, okay, the customs, all of that, the history, the prophecies. These all pertain unto the children of Israel, man. And particularly in this time, only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be able to obtain what they seek for, pursuant to Romans the 11th chapter and the 7th verse. All right? Now let me get another quick precept, and I'll go back to Isaiah. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 12? 12 verse 2. It says, "Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led." So we were in that state of mind, okay, whether you worship Christianity, okay, Cesarea or Islam or whatever you was into, man, idol worship, you came back onto who? You came back onto Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. You came out of that Gentile state of mind. All right? So let's go back to Isaiah 14. And that's what's happening right now, man. You have the tabernacles of David being brought up again. Okay, so that's who the Lord is having mercy on. Now, let's go to verse. So now that we have understanding on that, that's talking about Israelites in the first verse, let's go to the second verse. And this is where people get confused. It says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, whose captives they were. There's the key bit. And they shall rule over their oppressors. Now, who's oppressing us? Whose captives was we? Okay, Esau and the other nations, man. So what's going to happen to them? They're going to get taken into slavery. Okay, they're going to be serving on the routes. There are oppressors. There are we're their captives. I'm going to get 2 quick precepts on that. Okay, in fact, let me get this one first, and then hopefully I remember the other one. Lord willing, man. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. It says, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Okay, watch any slavery movie. All right, the transatlantic slave trade is an example. And what do you see? You see Esau on horses. Okay, the slave master. All right, and princes. You see Israelites walking as servants upon the earth, man. Okay, doing the slave labor. And that's we went through, chattel slavery, and now we're in debt slavery. We're still slaves under our oppressors, man. Who's our oppressor? The main oppressor is Esau. Okay, and the other nations have a hand in it too, and they've also, had their hand in our captivities, man. That's why all these different nations are going to pay, but the one that's going to pay the hardest is Esau, man, because, we're going to really kick Esau's ass for 1,000 years, and after that, after he served that judgment, okay, and serves us, he's going to be put down and destroyed pursuant to Obadiah, the 1st chapter, and the 18th verse, man. In fact, let me quickly read that just to prove to you that, the nation of Esau, which is the so-called white man, is going to be completely destroyed, man. This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 18. It says, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. So when this, when this prophecy is fulfilled, man, all right, every Edomite is going to be, that whole lineage, that whole nation is going to be exterminated, man. All right, that's what's coming to our oppressors. Now let's get a quick precept. This is Revelation chapter 13, verse 10. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Let's go back to Isaiah 14 before I finish reading that. It says, what? And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So whose captives are we? Who's in whose hand are we found? Okay, who's our oppressors, man? Okay, the so-called white man. Begin with the so-called white man and the other nations. It says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. We're going to take them and put them into slavery. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And who's the saints? Right? This is Psalms 148, verse 14. It says, he also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh Shemel Shai. So that's who the saints are talking about. And what's the saints going to do? Okay. Remember, it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. This is Psalms 149, verse, I'll read from 5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. That's who that's talking about, Israel. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh Shemel Shai be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron. Okay, they're elites, man. They're going to be the first ones to be put into chains. To execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints. Praise ye Yahweh Shemel Shai. So that's what that's talking about, man. In Isaiah the 14th chapter, we're going to be putting these, the ones that we're captive to, we're going to be putting them into captivity, man. All right. So, Lord willing, this has been an edifying lesson in the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, Bashem Chakadash. with that, man, I'm just going to say shalom, shalom to the elect.